coming. All right, good afternoon, General Irzyk.
Good afternoon.
We're here today to do another video of you for the 7th USABO homecoming that's going to be held at Fort Benning this spring in conjunction with the Sullivan Cup. And we're prepared with some questions, but I understand you've got something to say about your years in the cavalry. Please go tell us about your time in the cavalry.
As you know, the cavalry was the oldest service in the Army until they were reacted during the beginning of World War II. I had the great honor, the great privilege, and the excitement to join the cavalry as my first military assignment. Straight out of college, 3 weeks out of college, I reported to the Army at Fort Ethan Allen, Vermont. And I was welcomed by the adjutant, and he immediately told me that my assignment would be the 1st Squadron of the 3rd United States Cavalry Regiment. And he said, "You will start your service Monday. I will take you to the squadron commander." So I was assigned to Troop A of the 3rd United States Cavalry Regiment. And the squadron commander welcomed me to the cavalry and told me a little about the regiment. The 3rd United States Cavalry Regiment at that time had one squadron at Fort Ethan Allen, Vermont, the first one, which I was joining. 2nd Squadron was at Fort Myer, Virginia, as was the regimental headquarters. I was told that it had a long history dating back to World War I, and that the regiment was still separated by the 2 squadrons. And they told me that the commander of the regiment was a Colonel George S. Patton, Jr. So shortly after, maybe 45 weeks after I was there, I learned that General Patton left for the 2nd Armored Division. We were there for several weeks, and we suddenly heard that the Congress of the United States had passed the Selective Service Act by 1 vote. They had their head in the sand, and they voted for by one vote. All of Europe in the hands of Hitler, except Great Britain, and yet it was America saying to by thousands and thousands of people, "That's not our war, that's their war." But anyway, shortly after the Selective Service Act was passed, we were ordered from Fort Ethan Allen to join the regiment at Fort Myer, Virginia. And for the first time since World War I, the regiment was united. And moving rapidly ahead, when we got there, Fort Myer, Virginia is a tiny, tight post. It overlooks Washington, and we had to put one squadron on top of another, the horses of the one squadron on top of the other. And as we were settling in, we suddenly got orders to receive the first draftees. And we received 200 more men and 100 horses. And a lieutenant and I had 100 men all day. For half the day we had them for small arms, training, indoor classes, and the other half we taught them to ride and to get to know the horses. Well, I soon was part, when we completed that training, I was to do this, they had to form a third company, and a third, which was C Company, and I was assigned the light machine gun platoon. Well, shortly after that, January came, and by this time we were pretty well trained. And in January, on January 20th, the whole regiment led the parade of President Roosevelt's third inaugural parade. And the horses assembled outside the Capitol. The weather was bitter cold. When they got on the road, the horses slipped. It was a terrible, terrible day, but very, very exciting. And when we passed President Roosevelt's reviewing stand, he tried to stand up for the cavalry. He had his cigarette lighter and holder. So that was a momentous time in the history of this unit that I was in. And we moved on, and as time passed on, we again got well trained. And however, we soon heard that we were well trained, and we soon heard that we would be going on maneuvers. So the regiment went on maneuvers in South Carolina and North Carolina. This is now the fall of 1941. And in these maneuvers, the 3rd Cav was the aggressor, the enemy, and we were operating against Army units. And I believe that the Army units were the nucleus of the 1st Armored Division. And during that training, it was a difficult time because by being aggressors, we ran out of food because we couldn't get to our kitchen truck stores. But we moved so fast and over so much ground that we created havoc in those maneuvers to the older troops. But we were outclassed as far as weapons were concerned. But anyway, when the maneuver was over, we returned to Fort Myer. We were getting settled back. Some of the horses had ribs showing. They had lost so much food. But by the regiment was getting settled, and all of us were getting ready to take Christmas leave. And then suddenly we were there on December 7th. On December 7th, I was in the home of the regimental commander, and he was having a reception for the officers and ladies of this very successful maneuver. And while we were there, you want me to stop?
Keep going. A few more seconds.
Keep going.